Okay, moving on to the next presenter and presenting company. It will be Probi, and here to present today is the CEO Tom Rönnlund, and I think the CFO Henrik Lundkvist will also be on the call taking your Q&As. Go on, Tom.
Thank you so much, and thank you to Pareto for inviting us, and thank you for listening in today as well. So my name is Tom Rönnlund. I'm the CEO of Probi since 2.5 years back, and together with me here down in our offices in Lund, I also have Henrik Lundkvist, our CFO, that will come into the presentation here in a while as well. Next slide, please. Please familiarize yourself with our safe harbor statement. Next slide, please. So the agenda for today, we intend to cover a brief introduction to our company, some about the probiotic market, where we are active as a company, as well as a bit more detail on our company, what we're doing, what we are investing in to continue to be successful in the probiotic market. We'll also give you a bit of a performance update on our first half year of the year, and then also allow for some question and answers as well. Next slide, please. So Probi, Swedish company, founded 30 years ago. We're celebrating 30 years this year. We have our corporate headquarters here down in Lund in Sweden, but we are a truly international company. We sell our products into 40 markets, and our products, that is within the business-to-business space. So we work with brand owners, pharmaceutical companies, healthcare companies, food and beverage companies who wish to have probiotic offerings in their product portfolio. We supply them either with the raw materials they need for that, or we can also supply them with finished products that they can take directly to their sales channels. We had sales of about close to 720 million Swedish krona in 2020, with a healthy profit margin of 27% on an EBITDA level. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So we're active in the probiotic market. We are manufacturers and a research-driven business-to-business provider of probiotic solutions and concepts to our customers. It's a very exciting market to be in. There has been and continues to be a strong growth through focus on personal health and well-being, as well as continued scientific advancements in the field of the microbiota and the understanding of how important a healthy and balanced microbiota is to your overall health. Probi have shown this consistently through our 30-year history, that not only applications for probiotics within gastrointestinal health is an area where probiotics can play a role, but also in areas such as immune health and you're strengthening your immune system, nutrient absorption, bone health, as well as other areas that we're looking into. These elements are driven by the fact that through the last few decades, there has been a plethora of scientific activity in this field, garnering a greater understanding of how important a balanced gut microbiota is for your overall health. On top of this as well, the mega trends of an aging population, of higher standards of living across the world are also factors that are driving a healthy development of the probiotic market. Our main business area is within probiotic supplements, dietary supplements, where we work with pharmaceutical companies and healthcare companies all around the world. And this market is expected to grow from the levels today over the next few years with about 4% on an annual or on a compound annual growth rate from a compound annual growth rate perspective, and reach somewhere around 7.5 billion euros in annual market value. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So we here at Probi, we're probiotic pioneers. As mentioned, the foundation of our company comes out of research here at Lund University, where a group of gastroenterologists in mid-80s realized that some of their patients that they were operating on fared better than others. Their research and their investigations into understanding why, that is what led up to the identification of some of the bacteria that we're still working with, which was proven to have beneficial effects for the people ingesting it. So since then, we have continued to be a leader in this field, driving advancements, driving understanding of how the gut microbiota affects your overall health, but more importantly, how probiotics can help you in getting positive health benefits from ingesting probiotics over time. Our dedication to science and scientific validation of our probiotic concept have today led to more than 100 clinical trials on our probiotics and more than, close to 300 scientific publications, as well as a very strong portfolio of patents and trademarks that helps protect our intellectual property. Next slide, please. Our portfolio today consists of two main areas. One which we call Probi ClinBac, which is our most scientifically validated probiotic materials and products. And we also have a portfolio which we call Probi LiveBac, which are safe probiotics for use in different customer applications. It is sometimes used as additional strains to formulate for other types of health benefits than what we have in our Probi ClinBac portfolio, or as filler strains in different solutions for our customers. We are targeting many different health areas. We have a wide portfolio from that perspective, which means that in the traditional fields of gut health and immune health, for example, which are the two biggest ones for probiotics, we also have more innovative and more niche market offerings as well, such as in nutrient absorption as well as in bone health. These applications covers many different stages of a consumer's or of a consumer's lifespan, as well as addressing significant health areas and important health areas for the consumers. We deliver our products, our materials goes into both dietary supplements, which you probably have seen in Sweden, for example, in the Probi range of products in Swedish pharmacies, but also in food and beverage applications as well, where we work with leading food and beverage companies around the world. Here in Sweden, you might recognize, for example, Proviva, which is available in most stores around the country, which contains Probi's bacteria as the carrier of the probiotic solution. Next slide, please. Our focus as a company, it is threefold. We're focused at being a growth company in our market. We have, over a period of years, have a sort of a bit of a sideways development in terms of growth. In 2020, we posted very strong growth, and our ambition long term is to continue to grow our company on an annualized level of approximately 7% over a longer period of time. We do this by ensuring that we are present with strong teams in the right markets, as well as continue to focus on the portfolio of our scientifically studied materials, which are the ones that really gives us a unique proposition to our customers. We're also focused on working with mergers and acquisitions, as well as strategic partnerships to create an even stronger foundation for our growth plans moving into the future. As a scientifically driven company, which we've been for 30 years, we also continue to invest in widening our portfolio of offerings through scientific research and collaborations with universities, hospitals, and researchers all over the world to advance the knowledge and understanding of our probiotics, and ultimately then also developing new and exciting product areas for our customers. Thirdly, we are a vertically integrated company and in the probiotic space. We're one of the few where we have in-house R&D, where we have our own production capabilities, both in growing the bacteria, but also in creating finished formats for our customers that they can take directly to their sales channels. This is an important element for us. It provides flexibility and an opportunity to work with customers at different stages of the value chain. We are continuously focused on making sure that we've got the capacity and the quality that makes us competitive in the marketplace. Next slide, please. So from I mentioned earlier, Probi is a truly international company, and it's quite evident from here. You can see that the majority of our sales is coming from the US market. That's the world's biggest probiotic market today. And relatively speaking, within Europe, EMEA, and the region of Asia, including China, we have relatively smaller contributions in terms of sales from those regions. Both those regions represent interesting growth opportunities for Probi. We have invested in teams and capabilities here to drive a stronger growth and make sure that we get a more balanced picture in the future. The US market remains a very important element in our strategy, of course. We still have growth opportunities there as well. But from a percentage-wise growth, we should expect higher growth as we move into the future from Europe and Asia. Next slide, please. Research-driven company, I mentioned it a number of times already, and we continue here as well. Just recently, we've published, for example, a tolerance study in newborns, the first ever conducted on an L. plantarum, so a specific species of bacteria, which showed that in infants and newborns, children as young as a few days actually, these probiotics were well tolerated and also indicated in the study positive effects on the immune system. So this is just one example of the areas that we are addressing with our clinical research. Other areas which we're focused on is within stress and mental health, as well as women's health, different applications there. During the summer, for example, we informed the market about our collaboration with an Estonian research group, which will provide us with a comprehensive portfolio of opportunities of investigating future product for use in vaginal health. Next slide, please. Manufacturing excellence. Probi, we operate with our corporate headquarters here down in Lund in Sweden, and we have 2 manufacturing sites in the US. One in the state of Washington, where we grow the bacteria, which is called probiotic fermentation, and we also have one facility in Colorado, in the state of Colorado, where we do finished formats, where we do encapsulation tablets. We can put it into bottles and boxes, etc., where our customers then can take it to the market. Over the past year and a half, we've also invested quite significantly, particularly in our facility in Washington, where we grow the bacteria, in terms of ensuring that we're well equipped from a capacity point of view, as well as very competitive from a quality perspective as well, to drive our future growth plans as a company. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So moving over to a bit more details with regards to our first half year. As you can see here, we have had a bit of a headwind from the US dollar weakening. You noticed earlier perhaps that we have quite a big portion of our sales coming from the US. So on a first half year basis, we're reporting a sales decrease of 3%, but adjusting for the currency, we're actually growing by 8% organically. We had a strong start to the year in the US, but through some specific customer dynamics, it slowed down a bit for us in Q2. EMEA, as I mentioned before, very strong start to the year, all-time high sales, and supported by exciting new customer launches there. APAC, the compares from last year are quite tough due to some stocking related to COVID, but we have very positive outlook on our opportunities in APAC and expect that to grow at very healthy levels moving forward. Throughout this year, we've also communicated several key collaborations with large customers, such as Swedish Oriflame, Irish-American Perrigo, and Chinese Sinopharm. These represent the type of customers that we are very excited to work with. Large organizations with multinational presence, as well as the same commitment to scientifically validated good quality products for their consumers. Also, during the summer, we made an investment into the New Zealand-based company Bliss Technologies. I'll talk a bit more about that a little bit later. It represents exciting opportunities for our company for further growth. And by that, I'll hand over to Henrik, actually.
And thank you, Tom, and good morning, everyone. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Tom, and good morning, everyone. So as we just mentioned here, during the first half of the year, we posted currency neutral growth of 8%. But as mentioned, we have some headwinds related to currencies, mainly due to the stronger Swedish krona versus the US dollars. Our profitability, expressed as an EBITDA margin, was 26% and level with last year. If we look at the latest quarter, we have a slightly weaker reported quarter compared to last year. And as you can see, we have a currency-adjusted decline of 3%. The reason for this decline is mainly related to two larger US customers that did not place orders in Q2. One of them was an e-commerce customer where we had some really good growth in 2020, but they have not had the same momentum this year. The second customer was related to a change in their product portfolio where we lost a competitive bid. This is a customer where we have many different products, so we expect to be able to find new opportunities and solutions with that customer going forward here. But since both of these customers were relatively big, they represented approximately 15 million Swedish kronor in the quarter. That caused a bit of a decline here in the quarter. And of course, as the net sales was a bit lower in the quarter, that also had an impact on our profitability level. So we reported an EBITDA margin of 25%. Next slide, please. If we look at the different regions here, as earlier mentioned, Americas is by far our largest region. We reported a decline there, but if we adjust for currencies once again, we can see that it's actually a growth of 8%. Margin-wise, quite stable in that region. Moving over to EMEA, we have reported a growth of 12%, being a bit boosted by the launch of Perrigo, but we have also added a number of other customers into that region, which we are very pleased to see. In terms of profitability or gross margin, it's slightly lower than last year, and that is more related to some additional cost in connection with the launches. In APAC, as earlier mentioned, that looks like a decline, but it's actually a good performance because if we look at last year, there was a stock build-up in that region and in the beginning of the pandemic. So we are quite pleased with that number, actually, if we look at it from a historical perspective. Profitability-wise or margin-wise, strong. We have a favorable product mix in that region during the first half of this year. Next slide, please. Our balance sheet is very solid. We don't have any external loans. We have an equity ratio of 1.3 billion Swedish kronor and an equity ratio of 90%. This means that we are well equipped to continue to evaluate interesting business development opportunities so we can further grow our business. We can look into different M&A opportunities and different strategic partnerships. The one we just conducted with Bliss, that was one good example of that, but we hope that we will be able to find more going forward here. Now I will hand over to Tom again.
Thank you, Henrik. Am I back in picture? There we are. Thank you for that, Henrik. And just commenting on Bliss Technologies, which was communicated over the summer. So Probi has invested and entered also into a partnership with Bliss Technologies from New Zealand. Bliss Technologies is an exciting company. They share the similar focus from a scientific point of view in terms of ensuring that their probiotic concept are well documented with good quality scientific studies. Bliss has been very successful with their two main strains or bacterial strains or probiotic concepts called Bliss K12 and Bliss M18, where Bliss K12 is focused on ear, nose and throat health, including the immune system. This is an interesting and exciting addition to Probi's product portfolio as well, to work together with Bliss in rolling this out to a wider set of customers for Probi's network. Their second strain, called Bliss M18, has more validation or scientific studies showing that it promotes a healthy bacterial balance in your dental cavity for oral health. So through the partnership, we have entered into distribution and licensing agreement, which allows Probi also to manufacture Bliss strains at our facility. This is good from a couple of different perspectives. One is, of course, filling up the capacity in our facility. And the second one as well is gives us an opportunity also to improve our gross margins on offerings or product solutions, which includes Bliss Technologies strains as well. It also gives Probi access to additional health areas that we have not had in our portfolio before, which means also that we can roll that out to our existing customer network and new customers as well, and create interesting and exciting product offerings, which could contain both Probi strains or Probi bacteria as well as Bliss Technologies bacteria. So there are a couple of very good strategic good fits between our two organizations here, which promotes and gives us the opportunity to drive growth also in collaboration with Bliss Technologies. And secondly as well, the fact that we have, sorry, I get some strange message here in my computer. The second element, which is important as well, is that we share the same principles when it comes to scientific validation of our bacteria, and we will also, in moving forward, collaborate in investigating interesting potential combinations of strains or potential new health areas where our combined forces could make a difference. So it's a really exciting partnership. It has started. We have initiated the collaboration between our organizations, and hopefully towards the end of the year or early next year, we will start to see this bear fruit for the two companies. Next slide, please. So with that, thank you for your attention this far, and thank you to the organizers as well for inviting us, and we open up for question and answers.
Thank you, Tom and Henrik. We have time for a couple of questions. We have received some through our chat function. The first one relates to the European regulatory framework for probiotics. Given the difficult regulatory framework for probiotics and now changing regulatory framework in Europe, which are your biggest obstacles getting a solution classified as a drug, OTC, and compliant to make claims, i.e. non-generic claims from adding vitamins and such?
That's a very good question. So the European regulatory landscape, as you probably have noticed as well over the past year and a half, it has been changing in a slightly more positive way from the perspective that some additional markets are now allowing at least the use of the term probiotic in communication with consumers. So you have examples like Denmark, for example, which is quite close to us here, Spain, is another market. So there is a positive trend from this perspective. With regards to working with EFSA on being allowed to make claims, we at Probi and other companies have made significant efforts in this field in terms of providing very strong dossiers, I would say, in terms focused at providing the opportunity also to make claims based on the probiotics effects as such. It though still seems to be a quite locked position. So I don't have any sort of short-term hopes that this will change. At the same time, we also see that with the current sort of evolution or development that we see in Europe, and also the contacts that our industry association has with the relevant European authorities, there seems to be a greater susceptibility to actually listen to the science that has been produced by us and others. There are also other good companies in this field, which really shows it is good quality science. It's placebo controlled, it's randomized, it is prospective, it has been repeated as well to be proven. So our sort of my belief is that it's the drop that will hollow the stone, so to speak, here, to continue, we and others, to continue to show the good quality science that has been produced, and that proves that probiotics makes a difference in these health areas.
Great. Another question here. Which other probiotics developers do you see being in the forefront, and in turn your largest competitors?
Well, there are some companies that definitely have a similar approach to their probiotic concepts as Probi, and I would say our Swedish colleagues, BioGaia, is one example. We don't really regard them as competitors because their product portfolio is addressing different health areas to a great extent than ours is. So we don't normally feel that we are in competitive situations with our Swedish colleagues at BioGaia there. So I would say they also have a similar approach as Probi to the science and to the scientific validation of our solutions. Danish Chris Hansen as well could also be put on that list. And from the scientific focus perspective, I would say that it's probably those three. There might be some smaller ones as well.
Okay.
But those are the main ones.
Okay, great. Thank you, Tom and Henrik. The time is running out now. Very interesting presentation, and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much.